So now we come to the presentation of the Samuel Talbert Silver M Award. The recipient of the award is selected by a committee based on nominations, including those made by previous honorees. And we actually have several previous honorees in the room tonight. I'd like to ask each of them to please stand to be recognized. We have Curtis Wilkie, Charles Overby, Jere Hoar, Jim Abbott, Fred Anklem, and Bill Rose. The award is named for Dr. Talbert, the professor and department chairman who believed a great department of journalism would be an asset to the state of Mississippi. The award has been presented annually since 1948 as the university's highest honor for journalism. The requirements are that the person selected be a graduate of the University of Mississippi who has had a noteworthy impact in or out of the state, or if not a graduate of Ole Miss, a journalist of note who has been a difference maker in Mississippi. As you will see, tonight's honoree fulfills both tenets. The award will be presented by our dean, Will Norton, Jr.
During the 1974-75 academic year, the Department of Journalism had fewer than 100 majors, and an accreditation team made its first site visit to the campus. Brady Hall was the general location of, Brady Hall was the building in which the journalism department was in, and it was in the general location of the Senator Thad Cochran building across the grove from Farley Hall. The endowment of the department was less than $50,000. Today, the Meek School has more than 1,500 majors in Farley Hall and the Overby Center, and is raising funds for a third building that will be situated in the parking lot between Lamar Hall and the Overby Center. An accreditation team called the Meek School a destination and one of the elite programs in the nation. And the endowment is more than $13 million, with a major estate committed to the future. The Meek School is prominent nationally now, if not globally. Clearly, media education at Ole Miss has gained a great deal of exposure. Several times during the last few weeks, the Chancellor has called the Meek School one of the two best schools on the campus. That exposure is based on the strong foundation established in 1947 by Jere Forbes, the founding chair. He was joined by Sam Talbert and Dr. Jere Hoar. They produced outstanding graduates. Yesterday, I went through the Daily Mississippian issues of 1974 and 75, and 73 and 74 also. I wanted to refresh myself on the work of the Silver M Award winner tonight. He did not write that often because he was an editor and an assignments editor and a designer. However, I fairly quickly found a few pieces. In the back-to-school edition of 1973, he wrote a story, Dorm Hunting. The night I kicked my leg through the wall, I decided it was time to move. For the September 26, 1974 edition, I read the following story. University to apply again for Phi Beta Kappa chapter. Vice Chancellor Arthur DeRozier. The story quoted Jordan Kurland of the American Association of University Professors. The refusal to vouch the academic freedom and citation of other wrongs at the institution resulted in the vote for censure by the association. That's a pretty important story. We have Phi Beta Kappa now, but at that time, it didn't look like we had a chance for it. And our honoree tonight wrote a story about it. The story basically was saying that the university was lacking in academic freedom in 1968 when it terminated George Stigler and Mike Trister, two law professors who were working with legal services. Our honoree tonight also wrote a piece for the October 30, 1974 edition, Election Student May Lose Opportunity to Vote. It's election/students may lose opportunity to vote. The story warned about the State Election Commission trying to keep students from voting when they were here in Oxford. Whether about shoddy campus housing, lack of freedom for faculty members, or voting rights, tonight's honoree always seemed to focus on important news. He was recognized as one of the outstanding journalists in the department, and the Commercial Appeal decided to hire an Ole Miss student as an intern in the summer of 1975. Actually, Dr. Ron Farah, who was the department chair, had harangued the Scripps-Howard leaderships for so long that they finally caved and decided to give Mississippi an internship. They asked for 2 nominees, and they would pick one of the 2 nominees, and the faculty nominated someone named Scott Ware and Dennis Moore. Ware had a ride to Memphis, but Dr. Farah wanted me to meet some of the leadership of the newspaper, so he asked Dennis if he would ride with me. Dennis didn't know how scary it would be. He was interviewed by a fellow named Bill Sorrells, the managing editor of the Commercial Appeal. And Sorrells asked some of the dumbest questions I've ever heard. Mr. Moore, what countries does one fly over when one flies to Antarctica south from Memphis? Mr. Moore, what direction does a Panama Canal flow? Those kinds of questions obviously would really help you be a good intern. Dennis Moore was a model of civility. Despite the bizarre nature of the interview, he demonstrated an ability to be removed from the chaotic nature of the questioning and keep his wits. He has followed a similar pattern throughout his career. The program has his bio. It tells you of many accomplishments. His achievements demonstrate that while the Meek School may have more prominence today, it had more than it had 40 years ago. Its graduates always have had national stature. It gives me great pleasure tonight to present to Dennis Moore the 2016 Silver M Award.
Thank you. I can't tell you how encouraging this sort of thing can be. Let's call me being an advanced portion of my career, but receiving an award like this makes me feel like, golly, I could go on a few more decades that people would put up with me. When I found out that I was going to receive the award, I thought, honestly, I don't think that I measure up to the previous recipients. I don't believe that my accomplishments are as stellar as theirs. I've never endangered myself or my family for editorializing about a social issue. I have never revealed government malfeasance. I've never helped a community overcome a major natural disaster. I spent most of my career covering entertainment. Movies, television, music, and on a slightly higher respectability chain, books. But I do like to think that with the staffs that I've worked with over the years, and especially at USA Today, that we applied the same enthusiasm, the same vigor, the same really strong, aggressive news gathering that people on other beats did when we were covering the entertainment industry. We just had more fun. But I do also like to think that I help people understand the importance of critical thinking, because I believe that if you look insightfully, if you look imaginatively and aggressively At popular culture, you can find out just as much about society as if you were to write a news story. And so I feel like that we were able to bring that value to journalism that not a lot of people do. I worry because I think that in mainstream media now and in local media, there's not a lot of emphasis on critical thinking. There are a whole lot of reasons for that, but it concerns me because I believe that we more than ever have to not only present facts, but we have to defend facts because people question what we're doing now. They don't have the confidence. So I believe that we can do that by reporting and providing context. And by context, I don't mean let's interpret for people. Let's get enough facts so that we can speak confidently, authoritatively, and can address issues in a way that can't be questioned. If there's a problem, we can possibly offer alternatives. We can treat the people that we deal with on our beats with respect, hold them accountable, of course, but don't present them with our agenda. And I think that that's what a lot of news organizations are starting to do now. And so while I am concerned, I'm encouraged because I think that we're on a good path where we feel like that we have to report strongly, we have to report with depth, insight, and then we may be able to affect change. But only then because we have proved our worth. So that's my soapbox. Now let's talk about people. They're a lot more fun. Probably the first person who's responsible for me receiving this award is Ann Wilson. Ann introduced me to the University of Mississippi. She introduced me to journalism. She was one of the Taylor Medal winners, so clearly she was smarter and more talented than me. But I hope that by trying to keep up, I was able to improve myself. John Weatherly and I met the first week that I was on campus, and he has proven to be a steadfast and supportive friend every day since. And two other Wilsons, Lee and Carol, who have invited me into their family with all of my shortcomings, and I'm very happy to be there. People that you probably know a little better than them are Jere Hoar and Dr. Norton. I was so pleased that Dr. Hoar was here tonight. I didn't expect to see him. Anyone who has made it through one of his classes, and I say made it through because it was always a challenge, has had the real Ole Miss journalism experience. He taught feature writing, public opinion in the press, law and ethics of the press, and he impressed upon us the importance of excellence. And I don't necessarily think that I achieved that, but maybe with this award we could up my grade from a B to an A. Dr. Norton, he's inexhaustible, he's ingenious, he will very humbly describe himself as making connections, when actually what he does is he creates character and he creates careers. And the Meek School would not be the Meek School without Dr. Norton. And we are all benefiting from that. Fred Anklem. I joke that I spent my career following Fred. Fred and I were students here at the university, and then he moved to Jackson to take a job at the Clarion Ledger, and I showed up sometime later. He then went off to Washington to work for USA Today, Gannett News Service, and USA Today as an editor, and I popped up on the doorstep. And then when he heard about the idea of this digital, nonprofit, nonpartisan news service that had never existed in the state of Mississippi, he got in touch with me and said, "Are you interested?" And I said, "Absolutely." And it has been a great, great adventure. And I'll give the plug, MississippiToday.org, put it in your phones. And we've been fortunate to work with some outstanding, energetic, really inspirational people. And some of them are here tonight, Adam Ganeshow, and Ashley Norwood, and Serena Henderson, and who else, I think, is there anybody else here from the staff? Oh, and I've already introduced Mandy as the incomparable Mandy Pope, because she is our Chief Operating Officer, and she keeps us on track. And she gives us good perspective from someone who has not spent time in journalism. I also want to mention someone that probably not many people know, but really had a huge impact on my life, and that was Dave Calloway. He was the editor of USA Today, and he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and he asked me to go to the news department after many years in the life section, where I will take responsibility for lowering the quality of national discourse by following every nuance of Brad and Angelina's romance. I will apologize to you now for helping legitimize reality TV, but you cannot pin the Kardashians on me. But Dave moved me out of that and into breaking news at USA Today. And gosh, was that an immersion. We followed the police shootings of unarmed men and the subsequent riots in Missouri, in Baltimore, in New York City. We covered the Ebola epidemic in Africa and the ensuing panic here in this country when the first few cases were diagnosed. I was able to be involved with the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday down in Selma for the march. And fun stuff like the little probe Philae, which after 300 million miles landed on a comet and sent the first pictures back to space. So I think if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have gotten the job at Mississippi Today. So a vote of thanks to him, who's, I think, off enjoying himself in London somewhere. And I also offer gratitude to Donna and Jim Barksdale, and to Andy Lack, and to Charles Overby, and to Will, and to many other people who helped bring Mississippi Today to fruition. Their confidence, their support, they've helped me disprove what F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote once, that there are no second acts in American life. I think I'm living a second act of my American life, and I'm enjoying it quite nicely. Thank you. One last caveat. Sometimes when I speak in public, I forget what I've said the next day. So if you get an email tomorrow with the subject line, what I meant to say was, please open it.
We've heard a lot tonight about the School of Journalism and about journalism itself. And we've had mentions made of Jere Hoar. Many of you don't know that in the last year, Jere Hoar gave one of the major gifts that have been given to our school. So we wanted tonight, we don't have much to offer him as an expression, but we wanted you all to know that he made this major gift and to tell you what we're giving him. A friend of mine in Nebraska opened up my eyes to a little store at the edges of Washington, D.C. that has a lot of memorabilia in it. And this is one item that I picked up a little bit ago. A shield from the U.S. coat of arms. This shield from the coat of arms of the United States is a detail reproduced from the elaborately carved and gilded frame of an overmantel mirror made by L.R. Menger of New York and purchased for the green room of the White House by the U.S. government in 1853. The mirror currently hangs in the treaty room of the White House. So we want to give this to Dr. Hoar, and we would like for you all to congratulate him, thank him for his gift.